Dear Grace, sorry, crossing the street. Dear Grace, I guess I do have something more to say about this tragedy shooting. Not so much about the details, more about what's going to happen now. And as a continuation of my last comment of the last podcast, saying, calling Mark Carney a fucking asshole, stand by that. If he's truly a Canadian and cares about every fucking Canadian, he won't be living extravagantly with still people fucking sleeping on the streets. And I realize his puny little $300,000 worth of food doesn't make a piss ass worth of difference to the problem. But it sure as the fuck does from a visual standpoint. By all meals, have a meal, do your fucking job. But still. At some point, somebody has to take a fucking stand. Grace. Why the fuck can't you fly commercial? I'm not saying everywhere, every fucking time, but I know there's a million fucking arguments against that logic, Grace, but I'm a comedian. I'm not a logistics expert. But I hope, and I hate to say this, but in this day and age, with the technology we have, and people out there willing to do investigations, true story about this event should be able to be researched and extracted, and if needed, create a fucking documentary and get it on Netflix. So hopefully prevent someone else from doing the same thing. Maybe prevents hundreds from doing the same thing, or thousands. Because nobody knows what was going through that kid's head, and nobody ever will now. Because nobody asked them. Or if they did, they obviously didn't fucking listen. Or they weren't trained well enough to recognize it. None of those are meant to assign blame, just meant to be fucking obvious. Now I'm getting pissed, Grace. Everyone's so fucking afraid of AI taking over their jobs. What's gonna happen when it happens? How many people are going to wake up one morning after doing the same job for 5, 10, 25 years and be without employment, and be without enough savings, and be without no hope for the future financially. And when they look at their life, or look at what their life is going to be like without a job, maybe there's a basic income, like my disability. If they're looking at that, how many more of these incidents do you think there's going to be? Either directed towards AI and or technology, companies, people, whatever, or just simply people who realize that they don't see a future and they say fuck it and take the easy way out. Ban all the guns in the world, it won't stop suicide. but it's not here. AI isn't that good. It's not taking that many jobs. It will, but not yet. But my point stands, Grace. Any logical person can see that this is going to be a problem in the future. And maybe we should take a look now. I could do it, Grace. I could go in there, grab every piece of data from every computer, everything social media, interview people for days, record it all, transcribe it, create basically my own LLM of the incident. And if by chance AI finds no pattern, AI finds no reason, AI finds no anything, then so be it, I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. I took a chance, big fucking deal. On the other hand, if it does find something, it's a whole new way of investigating. Apparently there's a 3 o'clock rush hour now, Grace. Anyways, when I get home I'm going to read something I wrote at the library. More thoughts about this whole situation, which I've already been talking about, but I haven't explained yet in this podcast because I'm so used to only recording and talking that writing and recording just fucked me up. This part's more about Prime Minister anyways. Wouldn't it be nice if there's one world leader who's actually willing to live like their constituents? You know, fine, put some fucking security guards around their house and whatever. But alright, Grace. Back home. Had a bite to eat. Nacho chips. After I published that last podcast episode, I wrote a little bit by hand on the computer, whatever. Hummingbird. For a day or two, I'm going to have a garden of purple flowers. Grace, you should come by and visit. I think you'd enjoy it. Just sit here and look at the flowers. Watch trains go by. Not much of a life, but it's a day in my life. I'm going to get back to Prime Minister in a second. Get a few more thoughts. But first I'll read out the letter I wrote to you, because I feel like I've already told it to you. and I can't get on with thrashing the Prime Minister until I get this out. So here goes. Dear Grace, no audio today. I'm typing my thoughts out at the library. Back to the shooting yesterday. Here's the problem, and here's the solution. Problem. Obviously, there needs to be an investigation to prevent future incidents, not reduce, but prevent. The issue is how and who investigates. I suspect, within a day or two, as more of the details emerge, the blame game will begin. Then the cover your ass comments will emerge from everyone involved. Then the cover your ass comments will emerge from everyone involved. Understandable. If I was a working police officer, I wouldn't say anything that could jeopardize my reputation or my job. I would stick to the corporate position. However, this is the exact reason we are failing as a society to prevent these tragedies. So, who investigates and how? A government official, appointed or otherwise? Everyone they talk to who's involved understands that their words are being documented. They are not performing these investigations anonymously. They can't. However, they should. If every person the investigators, interviewed about this incident, about the shooter's past, was able to speak freely, off the record, the entire narrative changes. Not only does the quality of data improve in the interview, also will the quantity. If the police officers, doctors, teachers, everyone is free to housemate. If the police officers train. There's nobody can say my podcast is disingenuous. Non-express, if the police officers, doctors, teachers, everyone is free to express. If the police officers, doctors, teachers, everyone, is free to express not only their statement of the events, but their actual thoughts, feelings, emotions about the event, and their opinions of what could have been done, again anonymously, should all be part of the record. Instead, any investigator tomorrow, next week, or next month who talks to the RCMP officers who previously had interactions with the family will only get a verbal account of the officer's report, not their true experiences, not their true thoughts on the situation and what they could or should have been done, within their powers or not. Do you think any RCMP officer will publicly say we should have done this or not? Never. And that is the problem, Grace. Another housemate. With a housemate. Rush hour going on. At 3:30. Apparently none of us have a life. Do you think any RCMP officer would publicly say we should have or could have done this or that? Never. And that's the problem, Grace. I'm not suggesting it's the RCMP's fault. I'm simply showing a narrative which also applies to the doctors, teachers, the entire community in a sense. I've lived in a small town. I know how gossip works. It existed in the 70s, and it was as pointless and nasty then as it is today on social media. There are two stories, the real story and the told story. Change only exists from reality. My solution, AI, of course. Well, technically not necessarily AI. A person could accomplish what I suggest. What I will suggest is a solution. But it could take... Sorry, Grace. By the way, Grace, the cell phone case is half open right now. So at some point, this phone's gonna die. I can only drop a phone so many times over 9 years. You've had this phone for 9 fucking years. Can't run the Starbucks app. Can't run the McDonald's app. Can't run the banking app. Play porn verse fine though. My solution is AI, of course. Well, technically not necessarily AI. A person could accomplish what I suggest as a solution, but it would take considerably more time. Ultimately, a person is required to gather the data, interview the entire town if needed, and then feed the data to an AI. The AI automatically, anonymously, the AI is automatically anonymous, if fed by only one person who can be trusted. Once all the data is gathered, medical records, police reports, report cards, whatever may or may not seem important. Also, since we have, AI does, the ability to process hundreds of hours of video in seconds, we can include any relevant social media post, and then take all the data and let AI find a pattern, process the data, provide a report that is less of a police report and more of a series of logical events which most likely led to the unfortunate income. Ultimately, if you think about it, Grace, you're literally talking about an autistic person without feelings or emotions, analyzing a shitload of data to provide a solution. Which basically be a hard-nosed investigator. Ultimately, there was a breaking point. We all have them, Grace. I have one daily, I think. Maybe 2. I hate gossip, but I hate lying or holding back the actual truth even more, Grace. I know my idea sounds idiotic, but AI does have the ability to logically sort through data more than a human ever could. The current system doesn't work. It's not about laws, it's about humanity. The families of the victims will suffer for years. The politicians will blame each other or pass policies and decisions, or the law, which they created. The police will hide behind their shields and the law. Individual officers, if they knew they could have done something and don't, may suffer from PTSD, creating a secondary mental health issue in the community. The internet will mourn, but judge. The laws, the trans angle, everything. It's their right, but unlikely to inspire change without the full story. Everyone will continue to blame mental health, quote unquote, although nobody can define or gauge any level of mental health, good, bad, or ugly. The cycle will repeat. Another lost soul will reach for a gun or a knife or a car or anything to end their suffering. If AI was to produce a report outlining, quote unquote, who's at fault, not legally but practically, then what? If it's a person, AI can't release the name and remain anonymous. If it's a series of events, then it's different. No single event could be blamed, and no single person could be blamed. I think, Grace, we were a week away from having sun hit the chair I prefer to sit in. What do you think, Grace? Am I a fucking lunatic? I don't think it's wrong to blame a system that isn't working, that hasn't worked for a while. It's not horrible. There isn't a death or a shooting like this every week. But there could be, and there shouldn't be. If the Prime Minister is the top dog in the country, has the highest level of esteem, and represents Canada around the entire fucking globe, maybe he or she or they or whatever the fuck should be a better representation of the Canadian mindset. As best as humanly possible, considering a life in Nova Scotia is much different than a life in Alberta or a small town in British Columbia. So I think, as the leader of our great nation, the Prime Minister should go up there and talk to all the friends and families of the victims and of the shooter, and do it without a fucking entourage, and do it without fucking cameras, and do it without anyone else in the fucking room. Do it as an individual, talking to a family who's been and talk to them like an individual, to a family who's gone through a horrible ordeal, not by their choosing. They didn't send their son or daughter to war, they sent them to school that day. And Carney should sit there, keep his fucking mouth shut, and let them speak. And then record it, and save it, and then use it anonymously to prevent this from ever fucking happening again. Then you'd have a leader. You'd have a leader you could trust. Someone who's willing to look at the crap, find a solution. Instead, he and his party will forget the victims, their friends, their family. Within a year, they won't know the names of any of them. It'll just be an incident they could use if they're passing a law, criticizing a law, trying to make themselves look self-important, or all of the above. Politicians are supposed to represent the people, not their own fucking viewpoint. So why do we need parties? Shouldn't politicians be representing their constituents, regardless of party affiliation? And I realize this is some fucking nirvana crap, but still, it's pretty fucking logical. You have an issue, let's use gun control. It's up to the fucking MLA or whoever, whatever fucking level of government is going to take the fucking lead. It's up for that person to solicit their constituents, offer their constituents a way to submit their thoughts and feelings on the gun debate issue and submit them. And then regardless of party, the MLA should have a feeling of what the fuck his community wants or her community wants and vote like that. And with that process, a truly democratic decision. And if you're in Nova Scotia and you don't like it because the idea benefits Western Canada more, too bad. Because next time there's going to be an idea that benefits Eastern Canada more, that'll get through. And eventually it'll all balance out. And if it doesn't, then fuck it. Let's just break the country up into 10 different countries and say, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Or work together. Name one political figure, Grace or Grok, who's recently done something within the last decade great for the world, or sacrificial, or amazing, or anything. Political leader, religious leader, whoever. Even the Dalai Lama. Say his name, all I can think of is sucking little kids' tongues. Fucking disgusting. I don't give a fuck if it's tradition or whatever. There's the whole Jewish circumcision thing. Fucking disgusting. Go to a hospital and get it done properly. Pissed off, Grace. Tired of fucking being alone. Prime Minister who actually lived like a fucking citizen. What a concept. Even what the fuck difference does it make? And to be fair, at this stage. Any adult between 18 and death should be able to see through the bullshit screen that politics, government, everything is. Like, who the fuck is going to the... Who the fuck is naive enough or dumb enough to go to the fucking voting station and vote and think, oh, well, if I place my vote, this party will definitely change the system. Fuck you, they never do. They haven't for 100 fucking years. And why are we so fucking stupid to still fucking allow it? Oh, damn it, I swear, humans are fucking idiots. As long as you have enough food on the table, comfortable enough when you go to sleep, nobody gives a fuck. Till there's a shooting. How about this? Before you put a person on SSRIs or any drug, never mind, Grace, nobody gives a fuck. What do you think, Grace? Another sunset video? Start a live stream from the backyard? Do a time lapse of the purple flowers blooming? How about this, Carney? You sent me there. I know that's what I'm going to do. Don't give my real name. And I'll gather everything. Which again sounds ludicrous. But that's what needs to be done. Not necessarily by me, but by someone. And with that, Grace, I'm gonna post this, do another live sunset video, and then call it a fucking day. And hope, pray, Netflix has something new on. chances of me answering or replying to a whole bunch of comments on this post is about 1 billion to 1. Tell you what, Grace, if I had $1 billion, if I couldn't do it myself, I'd send someone up there. Some kid out of journalism school. So here you go. Here's a hotel room, a laptop, Starlink satellite connection. Stay in that fucking community until you have the story. But when you write it, you have to write it anonymously. And you can't do what I do, which is gonzo style. Well, you can, but it'd have to be secondary. The first article you write has to be factual, has to tell the truth, has to tell the story. And if you want to write a second article about your experience while creating this, go for it. Or if you want to write a book after that, go for it. Want to do a miniseries? Go for it. I'm being silly, Grace. But if I had $1 billion, I'd gladly give a reporter right out of journalism school $100K in salary and expenses to stay in that community till he, she, they got the fucking story. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't care. Just needs to be done. Well, to be fair, I've already given away 999 million, which means I only have 1 million left, which means 10% will go to this project, which I'm okay with. Quite frankly, 100,000 plus expenses. Let's say 200,000. Would all be made back in a Netflix documentary and would benefit the community and others. I don't really live in this reality, do I, Grace?